You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. And we have good in abundance overflowing today. You're welcome to the Joy of Living podcast. You've tuned in consciously and conscientiously for one reason and one reason only. It's the best reason in the whole world because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. And that's great, by the way, because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony. You create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And as I said, you've tuned in to the Joy of Living, and this is broadcast throughout the world through the magic, mysterious, mythical platform called the internet. And you are joined at this very moment, by the way, by more than 348,000 people around the world. By the time we bring on our guests in the next few minutes, amazing, wonderful Jake, we'll have over 355,000 people, all about 325,000 every single week. And you're always bringing your friends. Thank you so much. We look forward to getting to 500,000 very soon because you're always telling your friends about it, because this is the place where you know that when you follow the three fundamentals of life, as we talk about on this wonderful podcast, that you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that, right? So let's talk right now about the three fundamentals of life, because these three fundamentals are going to animate you to become the best you possible. The first is, number one, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. Now, in this case, number two is a good number two because you will go mad. Now, MAD is the great acronym in this case that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental that we talk about in the show and we work with and share with you so you can share and teach others is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Everyday words and terms. Simple example. www. Right now, this has been carrying over the internet. If you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, they'll tell you it has to do with the internet. Now, factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for, drum roll, fanfare, da-dun, da-da. What a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? And of course, whenever you hear those words and you hear the opening bars of that amazing song by Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, what a wonderful world. What do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words that you could ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, we're going to be through the COVID and no more masks. This thing is over. The masquerade is gone. And just to let you know, when I do speak with audiences in person, human beings, the last one we did just before the COVID was at 5,200 plus people in the audience. And I'm telling the story about Barry Shore, and I talk about smiles, seeing miracles in life every day. And of course, people raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours, but I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you see? Can you stand still? I can't. Can you walk? I could be able to do that. You have water to drink, you have food to eat, you have a place to sleep, you have family, you have friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. A miracle. Now just think of this. Imagine standing up in the morning just like you, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. Not from an automobile accident, not a spinal injury. I became a quadriplegic overnight through a rare disease I never heard of the day before. Quadriplegia means nothing on my body moved, nothing. And I was like that for years, 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't turn over by myself. I was 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, my hips, my ankles, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. But I still can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of that word. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. But I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. He says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile, S-M-I-E-L? And I thought about it. Smile, sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of babes. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. CREATE is a fabulous acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. You have the choice of how you respond in any given situation. Neuro-linguistic program. You can think and program yourself how to have the best possible outlook and therefore looking out for the good all the time in the world. And that's really the key. The 6 most important words you'll ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in life are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Now, I just want to warn everybody in advance, the new people here, and our wonderful guest today, Jake, that I do use a lot of 4-letter words. But you should know, in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant, the 4-letter words that we use are love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, swim, pray, play. 4-letter words, right? And I even use the 4-letter FU word. I do it because of the shock value and it's fun. And of course, the 4-letter FU word that we use is fun. Fun, yes. F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, some people raising their hands are say, hey, Barry Shore. Fun's not spelled with only 3 letters. I said, not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, you see your family, your friends. I want you to point your finger, have a twinkle in your eyes, smile on your face. Remember that stands for. Point your finger at your family, friends, say, F you, everybody. And they say, what are you talking? Where'd you get that? I said, I listen to The Joy of Living with Barry Shore. He wants to teach the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. You got to add it right away. So before we bring on our amazing guest, who has such a wonderful story and ability to help transform you and make you the best you possible, I want to urge everybody to do the following. I want you to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from this point forward for the rest of your life. 2 most powerful words in the English language. And these words are, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama was quoted as saying, I read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. And as he says, it's always possible. So imagine you go back to the coffee shop, no mask, no nothing. You sit down, you order your fancy latte, you sit down, somebody brings it to you, say, thank you. You go to the coffee shop, you order your fancy latte, you sit down, a few minutes go by, nobody brings it to you. You go to the counter and say, I'm sorry, we forgot, we're busy, we'll bring it to you. Sit down, another minute goes by, still somebody brings it to you, say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out, and somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're in traffic, you're late for an appointment, somebody cuts you off, and you say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, yes, thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. KIND is a wonderful acronym. It stands for Keep Inspiring Noble Deeds. And I can't think of anybody that at the moment that inspires noble deeds more so than our wonderful dear friend, Jake Havron. Jake, please say hello to 356,822 people around the world.
Hello, hello. I think I have to start singing now that I listen to you like that.
Thank you, Jake. What a pleasure to have you. By the way, I can tell everybody who's watching, his teeth are real. They're white and they're beautiful. His hair is real. It's black, and because he's young and dynamic. Now, if I start telling you all the wonderful things about Jake, we'll take the rest of the show. So I'm just going to go and talk about two things, and then we're going to unpack and really get deep, because Jake is here to be a benefit to you. Remember, this show is not about Jake, even though he's a great guy, not about Barry Shaw, as wonderful he is. This show is about you, YOU, becoming the best you possible. There are three things I want to tell you about Jake. Number one, young and dynamic. Number two, he was a nurse, and he's male, so he was a male nurse. And number three, he is a transformative being for himself, because he transformed himself, and he shares that he is a cog. A cog stands for a channel of goodness, a child of God, and he is both. And he's here to help bring for us some of what he brings to the stage, and he works with people one-on-one in allowing people to be transformative and live that purposeful life. So Jake, if the stage is now yours, hundreds of thousands of people around the world from very many different cultures, let's talk about what you like to discuss, which is the dream life and how one even begins to approach the dream life through what you call P2 or P squared, peak performance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I am honored. And Barry, you are just such a legend on here. I know so many people just resonate with your joy and your love and abundance. And, the words that stood out for me on creating this dream life is pray and play. When I heard that, the P squared of the pray and play and the peak performance, when you put those together and it's P to the fourth power, that's when you could truly create your dream life. And that's just been the story of my journey of, going from the tall white kid that was a little chunky growing up in Maui, Hawaii, where I was picked on a lot. And people thought that, this kid just doesn't have much to him. All I had was my height. And I didn't have much confidence to myself too. But when I found my own fitness, found that I could find my own confidence within myself, because I felt that internal confidence, not the external confidence, but the internal confidence. That's when I started to realize that I can control my life before I even, really understood what that meant back in 7th grade.
So let's talk about the idea. First of all, growing up in Maui, okay, you know something? I don't even care if you were picked on, no offense, but that not a bad place to at least grow up and experience that remarkable tropical paradise. But let's just use that as an example of something. See, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in Alaska, or you can be in Hawaii, you can be in Siberia, you can be in Hawaii. But if the internal confidence is not there, and you are picked on and you can't find your footing to be able to have a place that you can grow from, then how are you ever going to achieve your real being, the best you? So what was it, Jake, that sort of sparked that unique shift, that little shift that anybody can change literally at any moment? What happened with you? What was your shift?
Yeah, such a great question. And I believe that, there's times where we don't realize what's going on. So I look back at it, I'm like, oh, that's what happened. I believe there's two types of confidence. You have the external confidence and the internal confidence. You can protrude external confidence with the way you stand, your shoulders up, back and down. You have a nice puffed out chest where you look very confident. You look very certain in what you do. But the internal confidence is a lot of the mindset, right? And what happened to me back then is I changed the external confidence because that was the only thing I knew how, which was I lost 40 pounds over a summer going from 7th grade to 8th grade. I was just so fed up with not losing the weight. I was playing a lot of basketball, and I realized that maybe the cookie dough that I was eating in my fridge every night wasn't really helping me. And so I
figured that out on your own, huh?
I hit my breaking point before I even knew what that was. And so I searched up all the right workouts to do. I searched up what products to take, what to eat, what not to eat. And I lost 40 pounds. And so what that did, Barry, is it first gave me an external confidence because I looked better. I felt better. I had more energy. I had more joy. But then that went inward, and I realized that I can control what I can control, which is me. And when I can do that, that gave me a confidence boost internally, because I knew if I wanted to go be a better basketball player at that time, I can control that. I knew that if I wanted to have good grades, or maybe I was doing bad in one of the classes back in high school, I knew that that was up to me. And that's where I started to really realize, before I really knew it, that I had the control of my own joy, my own life, and especially creating your dream life one day at a time.
So you were taking or owning, let's use a different term, a better term. You were owning personal responsibility as a young person, the age of 12, 13, 14, where you recognize that the only thing that you have control over is your own mental and physical and spiritual being. And once you did that, the transformation externally, which came from the internal, is really what happened. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I got to be real. Like, I didn't fully understand that. I barely understood that, and we call this where it's subconscious competence. You don't know what you're doing that works.
Right.
Right? But then there's subconscious incompetence, which means you don't know what you don't know. And so when we look back, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners can think of this, when we look back at why we're doing things, or why we're in that relationship, or why we were in that job, now it makes sense to us because we're more aware. And that's what happened for me. But I'm so grateful, because sometimes when you look at the toughest of times in your past, you can realize that those greatest tests are now your greatest testimonies if you choose to change the way you frame it. And you're such a beautiful example, Barry, with, you going through those quote unquote horrific accidents and situations, that now you're able to create this joy because it was a choice. And that was the word that really stood out when you said that earlier, is we have a choice to live our dream life. We have a choice to turn our test into testimony. We have a choice to turn our blessings into things that could help other people. And that's what you're doing. And that's why so many people listen to you right now, but we all have that choice.
Let's go to two things that I want to make for people who are not able to see. Jake is a very personable, pleasant looking being. What is your chronological age?
Are we able to talk about that on air?
Yeah.
I'm 26. I'm 26.
He's 26. I do it purposely. 80+% of the people listening and watching around the world are under 35. Mm-hmm. So when you're speaking to your peers. You're talking everybody has a battle you know nothing about. So as we say, be kind always and kind again. Keep inspiring noble deeds. I want to share with you a couple things, Jake, that I think might make you smile a little more. By the way, when was the last time anybody said F you to you and you smiled? F you, capital N, capital N. So we, in this world of transforming ourselves and thereby enabling us to be a benefit to others, because that's really what it's about. Benefit of others is really what life is for, is the ability to help. Hope, by the way, stands for helping others progress every day. So we say this is the world called shift happens. Now it's funny that in the world of shift happens, for some reason, Jake, a lot of people drop the F. I don't know, they just end up with the other stuff. So you got to be able to clearly enunciate shift happens, or else you're going to end up with the other stuff. And here's where it gets really fun. The word joy stands for journey of you. That's the ultimate joy. When you become the best you possible, you're creating a legacy, whether you're 26, 66, or 106. I happen to have a personal friend who's 109. We'll tell a story about that later. But yes, it's the ability to be the best you possible. You live your legacy. So let's begin to unpack, what is P squared? What does peak performance really mean? What does that mean, Jake?
Yeah, well, let's start off with a question for maybe everyone listening. So I like making this very interactive. Like, if I'm going to listen to a show or a podcast, I like to get implementation and tools and strategies. So I hope I could bring that. So if you're listening right now, just think about right now, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being absolutely no energy at all. You literally cannot even get out of bed. And 10 being you are unleashed, unstoppable. Energy right from the start of the day is just beaming from you. What is your average? Not on a good day, not on a bad day. What's your average on a 1 to 10 where you're at? And when I ask this from people all around the world and the clients I work with and the people I work with, the average is around a 6, right? Because sometimes we're a little hard on ourselves, but we're also a little honest. And Barry, right there, if we're on an average of 6, and we might have some outliers, you got to think about that is a 40%, right? 4 points, 40% amount of your life that you're leaving on the table that you are not capitalizing on. Because if we can all agree on that energy is everything, and emotions is energy in motion, and the more energy you have, the more emotion you have, the more emotional experience you have, then you're leaving around 40, maybe even if it's 30%, if you're a 7 out of 10 every single day, and that's compounding over years. So what if there was a way, Barry, that people could just start increasing their energy, their peak performance, a couple percent a day? That they start having a morning routine that actually gives them energy. It doesn't make them feel like they're going through this monotonous routine, but they're actually, vitalizing their lungs with oxygen by doing a breathing routine that takes less than 2 minutes. And they're getting visualized so they have a North Star on their day. So they're not just getting pulled which way and they feel like they're just getting things done, right? Because the problem I see that's not peak performance, Barry, is when people are just being busy and they think they're moving forward because they got things done, but they're not being productive. And that's the difference of either putting fires out in your business or actually building the business to higher levels. That's two different types of work. And a lot of people are putting out the fires instead of building the business bigger.
So let's unpack some of this, because it is practical, doable. See, the genius of what we're talking about, Jake, and that's why I'm so happy that he's here. I asked him to be involved, is because he doesn't just speak in the ether. He doesn't talk about fluff. He talks about making things happen, because shift happens. And you talked about a rut. Now, we know, Jake, you and I think most of our listeners understand this intellectually, but what Jake brings is we can actually put it into our lives, is the difference between a rut and a groove. It's the same exact place. You want to be in a groove, you don't want to be in a rut, because a rut is going to keep you in a place. A groove is going to enable you to move forward. And I love how you mentioned most everybody, by the way, that is listening to us are either entrepreneurs in their own businesses or entrepreneurs in someone else's business, even though it's called an employee, but they really have the mindset of, I am my own best boss. Mm-hmm. And when you say about busy, so most people can confuse busyness with business. That's what you're talking about. Just making things happen. You can run around. You can be a hamster on a spinning wheel. It's the ability to know where you're going, to move forward with purpose in your life. Now becomes P cubed, peak performance purposely. And that's really what Jake is all about. And actually, he has peak performance principles purposely, because he also, like myself, admires and works with Jack Canfield and his success principles and such. So this is really the genius of what Jake brings to the world. I want to talk about you and your first involvement in the world of benefiting people, and that is as a nurse. Now, I'm going to tell a story a little bit later, but I want you to talk to us about being a nurse. I actually thought of an acronym for nurse just before we went on the air. Nurse to me, because this is what any nurse, male, female, doesn't matter. We don't call male nurse. You're a nurse, right? A nurse is one who nurtures unlimited respect, support, enthusiasm for the patient. That's what a nurse does. A nurse is not just there. You're nurturing and helping the patient. I am blessed to tell you that I have a number of stories of nurses that really made a difference in my 144 days in the hospital as a quadriplegic, completely paralyzed. Let's talk about your nurse experience and how that enabled you to move and shift, keeping that F in there, and shift from where you were as a nurse into becoming, let's call it a nurse practitioner for people who want to have peak performance.
A nurse practitioner for peak performance. I love it. So I went to become a nurse because I wanted to help people. And this, once again, there's a lot of people here that might not know exactly what their calling in life is yet. And for me, I didn't know it, but I wanted to help people. And I also wanted to be around athletes. And so I was actually going to go be in exercise physiology, but my sister was becoming a nurse, and the law of environment, they kind of influenced me, and they said, hey, you should be a nurse. It's a better paying job. You get to have more opportunity. It's better. Like all the things that at that moment sounded more exciting to me, but ultimately I wanted to help people. And so I became a nurse, Barry, and it was amazing. But what I realized that actually led me to shift out of that with the F, shift, and go into what I'm doing today, which I'm so grateful for, is there was this one moment, it was towards the last year of my nursing, and this man came in, and he was in his late 40s, and I was working in the ER at that time, and he was on the stretcher. He had a heart attack. And so we do our simple protocol, the same thing every time, go save his life, do the right procedures. And, and he finally gets stabilized. And a couple hours later, his family's in there, and his family's mourning, and they're just so sad. And I'm looking over there, and I've seen this before, but it hits a difference sometimes. And finally, after like about a day passes, he comes out of the coma, and he looks over at his family, and you could just see it just hit him in his face. Just went white, was like, oh my gosh, I almost lost my most loved ones. And I'm helping him. And so he expresses those emotions to me and says, Jake, like, please just let me know what I can do to not be here again. And so I was like, of course, like, here's the protocol, like, eat these foods, stop eating that food, do these exercises, a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks later, and take these prescription pills, because this is all we were taught on how to help people. And he was like, absolutely, all excited, Barry. And so he left, and I went on with my day. And what really snapped me, Barry, just in the soul, before I even really knew what it was, but it just gave me that uneasiness, is a couple months later, I see this person come in on the stretcher again. And I couldn't recognize who it was right away. But when I did, Barry, it was the same guy with another heart attack and the same problem. And that's when I just didn't understand how someone could literally see their family as they were about to die, and they're given all the right things to do, and they're still here with the same problem. And I still, went and did my job. But after that night, I went home and I just felt uneasy. I was like, this just doesn't feel right. I was like, I'm giving them all the right strategies, but they don't understand this. And what I found out, Barry, and you know this best, is later down the road, I found out that 80% of all success, of all action, is your psychology. Only 20% is the strategy and implementation. And I realized that I wasn't really able to maximize the psychology and helping people in that sense. And so I made a choice, once again, that C word, the choice, to graduate as a nurse. But then I just realized I'm going to stop getting people out of the hospital, Barry, and I'm going to start keeping them out. And that's when I chased my entrepreneurial path of becoming a personal trainer, helping people transform their bodies. Then I became an online trainer, helping people all over the world. And then from there, that's when I became a business strategist, because I realized if I could help people make more money and help live a more prosperous and time freedom life, then they have more freedom. They could be a bigger impact to their lives. And it's just a blessing ever since. But it came from that one choice, Barry, to listen to what my soul was telling me, even though I wasn't really understanding of it till later, and realize that I need to go follow my passion, follow my purpose, even if it doesn't make sense, because I was humiliated. People were like, you're leaving nursing to become a trainer? Do you realize that you're not going to make money, that there's no insurance, that's not long-term? But I knew where I wanted to go, Barry, and that's where I'm here today, because I stuck through it.
POW! P-O-W. POW, which stands for Psychology of Winning. That who is Jake Havron, Psychology of Winning. He didn't say, do this, take these pills, don't eat these foods, all of which are important, but it's the psychology, it's your mind. He kept effing it. Shift happens, and it will happen for you. Jake, on this note, this high note, we're going to go and do what they call a commercial sponsored break for the moment. Everybody buckle up, because there's more Jake coming back on the other end, and we are just going to rock and roll and bring goodness to your life. We'll be right back after this brief message. Imagine the kind of place you would want to shop for your favorite fur baby pet. honestpets.co. Well, you found it. honestpets.co, not .com, .co. This is your go-to spot for the best, the cleanest pet treats that exist anywhere on the planet. All of the brands go through a rigorous review to make sure they meet the high standards of cleanliness, health benefits, and naturalness. This site was started by a husband and wife team, and it's veteran-owned, and that care about pets, especially dogs and cats, and coming soon, bird treats. These are very nice young people who really care about making a difference, because a portion of proceeds go to support veteran organizations with a focus on service dogs. This is the place where you want to go. You want to tell your friends this has the finest, yummiest, freshest, all-natural treats and stuff for your fur baby. So go there, honestpets.co. honestpets.co. Do it now. Hi, everybody. Barry Shore here, the ambassador of joy. We've entered into the fall season, and fall means coming up to winter, holidays, all kinds of stuff, not just stuff, stress, stress. You know, I've spoken about stress many times on the show, and with stress coming on with the holiday season, everybody wants to be happy and such, but everybody knows what's going on. I want to talk to you about something really important for your benefit. It's called Talkspace, TalkSpace, Talkspace.com. This is an online therapy program, show, website, and it's available for you. It is so important for you to be involved. You all know my story. Standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, in the evening, quadriplegic. Okay, nobody has to go through something that drastic to know that speaking to somebody, a professional, licensed therapist, can be of benefit. I know it's true. It helped me. It can help you. This is so easy to do. You are talking about secure, professional process. It's the number one online therapy platform in the country. It works around your schedule, your convenience. I urge you, please match yourself with a licensed therapist. Go to Talkspace.com, Talkspace, Talkspace.com. Get $100 off your first month with the promo code Barry, Barry. Go to Talkspace.com, put in the promo code Barry, Barry, and you'll get $100 off your first month. Please do it. You'll thank me. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. We have good in abundance. Our cup runneth over with good. And a human being, a two-legged human being named Jake Havron, and he has been sharing with us the idea of the dream life. And it's not just a dream, it's reality when you know how to F it by keeping the F in shift. Shift happens. He went from internal no confidence with some external confidence and learned how to shift it. So he had internal confidence, which again built his external confidence. And we're going to just jump right in there now, Jake, and talk to us. Can one build confidence really, as opposed to just being braggadocio and walking around thinking or having other people think you're confident? How do you make sure that you're the confident one? What practical tips and tools can you share with us about building confidence?
Absolutely. Well, let's dive right into the two types of confidence and actionable steps for it. So first, let's start off with external, right? So if you're listening right now, if you're in the car, you could even do this. If you're walking on the treadmill, you could do this anywhere you can, especially if you have a home, right? I call this the doorway drill. And this is so important because if you guys don't know yet, so communication, 7% of the communication is the words you say. Right. So it doesn't matter how good the words are, what exact vocabulary you use. It could be the most eloquent words, but it's not as powerful because 38% of that is tonality. And as you could probably tell, Barry has incredible tonality, the way he sings, the way he has highs and lows. That's why he's so relatable. But even better yet, 55% of communication is body language. So if you can have proper body language, which starts with your posture, you're going to naturally communicate to your friends, your coworkers, your boss, your employees, your loved ones,
yourself
better communication and confidence. So what it is doorway Joe. What you're going to do is every doorway in your house, you're going to get a bright sticky note and you're going to put it right at eye level, right next to the door. So it's an anchor, it's a cue. So every time you see that, you're going to remember to do this. And all we're going to do is we're going to first do, it's called a full body reset. You're going to tuck your chin into your chest, because what happens, Barry, is people are on their computers, their phones all day, and their head is moving forward. And every inch that your head moves forward, it's adding pounds on pounds of stress on your back. So if you have a back problem, it's probably because it's starting in your neck. So you're going to tuck your chin forward. I call it up, back, and down with your shoulders. So you're going to roll your shoulders up, back, and down. And you're going to pull your core slightly in tight, not suck it in. Don't suck in, just a slight tightness in your core. And it takes you less than a second. And it'll be a little awkward at first. But guess what? You're going to probably forget about it. Your posture is going to go back down, but then good thing you have a lot of doorways in your house, and you're going to reset it again. So it's a quick chin tuck, shoulders up, back and down, core tight. And what that's going to do is it's going to start to open up your posture. So you're giving off better energy. You feel better. And I swear you will probably hear from someone doing this that you have good posture. Wow. Like, did you lose a couple pounds? It works. I'm telling you, because your posture changed. So that's external confidence, Barry. And could we dive into a little bit of internal confidence here?
Please, let's dive right in, Jake.
So that's the quickest way, external confidence. Now, internal confidence, it's a little different because everyone has a different world within, right? And I don't know where some of these listeners are, Barry. I know there's probably people that have gone through a lot. There's probably people that are doing this entrepreneurial route, but are not seeing success. And they're maybe days away from giving up or putting in the resignation, going back to their W-2. But Barry, I'm here to hopefully tell each one of these people that if you control the internal confidence and you do what we're about to do right now, you can shape your entire destiny and create your dream life. And so if that's you, then what I recommend is doing these things called declarations. Now, we've all heard of these words.
Again, let me just declarations, DECLARATIONS.
There we go. Bravo. So we hear of these words, affirmations, right? We all know or heard of affirmations. I'm happy, I'm joyful. And I love that. But sometimes, Barry, what I've found, even with high successful people, is that if they say, I am happy, but really they're going through the toughest times of their life, they have that little voice in the back of their head that says, no, you're not. It says, stop lying to yourself. You feel like you're just going through the motions. And sometimes that just doesn't work. It's not powerful enough. I call it as affirmations are like you going to the restaurant and there's a bunch of dirty dishes on the table and the waiter says, here, come sit down. And they put a big white canvas over the dishes and say, everything's clean, but there's a bunch of junk under there. That's what affirmations are. But declarations, Barry, declarations are where you go and sit down at that table. The waiter or waitress comes up and says, what would you like to order? And you look at the menu and it's the first time you've ever been to the restaurant. You say, oh, I'll have the salmon salad, with the extra quinoa on the side, and let's put an avocado. And they say, okay. And they go behind the kitchen. And just like in life, if you've never been to the back of the kitchen, you won't know what's back there. But just like in the universe with God, things are conspiring back there that you have no clue about. And pretty soon you're just sitting there because you declared what you want. That food will be right on your tabletop. And here's your salmon salad with a little extra quinoa and avocado. And maybe the chef was extra kind and they brought you a nice dessert afterwards because you declared what you want. And so what does this mean, Barry? This means instead of saying, I am happy, and if that doesn't resonate with you, say the words, I choose to be happy right now. I choose to love my life in every single moment. I choose to accept massive amounts of abundance. I've noticed this with a lot of entrepreneurs, Barry, is when they are getting into their success and they hear, I am a millionaire. I have a millionaire mindset, but they have that mind that says you don't even have enough money in your bank account to pay your next rent. So when you have that, instead say, I choose to have a millionaire mindset every day. I choose to have massive amounts of abundance come to me. Because when you create a list like that and you have 10 of those, Barry, and you read those every single day, just like how you shared at the beginning of this call, every single human has a choice. And when you have a choice and you declare this, that voice in the back of your head will not say anything because it understands that you do have a choice to have a multimillionaire mindset. Doesn't mean you have it right now, but you have a choice to create it. And that right there is my number one key to creating internal confidence. And I still do my declarations every single morning because I know how powerful they are.
Powerful, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
I am testifying that it works. And it doesn't just work for Jake or Barry. It works for every human being for two reasons. Number one, the good Lord created you. God infused you with the ability to have a mind. Your mind will declare who you are, as Jake just told us. That's number one. Number two, you are a human being. Being means that you're here in the moment. And when you grasp that and use what Jake just told us about this wonderful vision of the dirty dishes on the table with a white tablecloth and say, well, yeah, that's really me. Just say, I declare that when I sit down, there's a beautiful white tablecloth there, and that I order what I want, and it will be given unto me. Given unto me. Jake, this is so wondrous because you just did what we said, the 6 most important words that anybody could ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Go back to your nursing days. And again, I won't tell the story at the moment in full, but suffice it to say, when I was discharged from the hospital, still as a quadriplegic after 144 days, the doctors came around. There were 3 of them, a neurologist and a pulmonologist and a internist and such, say, Mr. Shore, you're never going to walk again and such. I mean, they were doing it in the nice sort of way that they could. Doctors just don't have the best bedside manner, but they did the best they could. And was I listening to them? No. Did I yell at them and say, no, you don't understand? No, they can have their own words and such. But I created, and I've shared this with thousands of people in situations like mine or even more dire, the following. Diagnosis is not destiny. Diagnosis is not destiny. It's what you're discussing with us right now, Jake. You might think that, well, look at me. You're right. I can barely pay. Not I. But someone said, I can't pay the rent or this and that. Okay, therefore what? Start declaring who you really are, not that just you want to be, who you are. That's the power that Jake is sharing with us. Share, by the way, stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy. That's share. Okay, we only have a few more minutes, so let's talk about the real massive value that you, Jake, bring to the world and the idea of business and partnerships. I just want to make mention again, the word business is very fascinating. I enjoy business and people. You know that everybody knows, listens to me and such like that. I built, thank God, some really interesting business. The word business is fascinating, Jake. If you'll notice, the U comes before the I in the word business. B-U-S-I-N-A-S. And that's the key to business. It's all about service. When it's the U before the I, guess what happens? Floodgates open, right, Jake?
Yes.
So talk to us about how you help build massive value for people who are truly in business and understand that service is the key.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was the first time I've heard that with the U before the I. That's amazing. And I understand there's a lot of entrepreneurs or, soon to be entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, whatever you want to call yourself on here. And there's so much we could dive into on business, but we don't have the time for that here. So we won't go into very, very detail. But what I do want to talk about, which is what I found is a lot of people are missing out on, Barry, is how do they properly speak to that sign that's on that other person's chest? And that sign stands for, here's my acronym for the day, WIIFM. You know what that is, Barry?
What's in it for me?
Absolutely. And you may have heard this before multiple times listening in, but what have you done to make sure that that sign is properly spoken to? And what I call it is call it your elevator pitch. It's how do you help that person that no matter if you're going to a business networking event, no matter if you're in the airport and you connect with someone next to you in your seat, or you're out in the daily work or just life that you're on, you're able to have your elevator pitch so profoundly remembered that you don't even have to hesitate. Because what I found, Barry, is people share their service, but not their outcome. They say, I'm a financial accountant, not I help people get financial freedom, right? They say, I'm a personal trainer, not I get people their dream body in life. That's the difference right there. So if you think about what you do right now, what is the outcome you do, not the services? People don't care about all the monotonous things. You don't hear from the airlines about the plane and the seats and what fuel they're using. They talk about the destination you're getting at. And that's what makes you so excited to get on that plane, because even if you're sitting in the back next to a crying baby, your promised land is going to Cabo or Cancun, and that's all that's making you excited. So when you're out networking with people, create this elevator pitch that says, I help. And then, so I'm literally, if you're writing this down, this would be great to do it. I help, and then insert ideal avatar. So I help busy entrepreneurs. I help, successful entrepreneurs by, and then insert your method. So by giving results-driven coaching so that they can, and then achieve dream outcome, right? I help busy entrepreneurs with results-driven coaching so that they can never have to worry about making another dollar again, right? Oh, wow, that's pretty interesting. When you say that, then they're going to ask the details. Well, what does that mean? Because now they have a listening ear. Instead of saying, well, I have this program that helps with, I do weekly coaching and I help you get a fitness plan and it's 12 weeks. And then, business, I dive in. That's just going over their head, because that's not what's in it for them. So if there's one thing you can take away that's very, very applicable from this call on business wise, is write down your elevator pitch of who do you help, which is your ideal avatar, by what outcome, what are you giving them? And even if you want to add in there, what's the unique proposition? What makes you stand apart? When I used to be a fitness trainer, I used to say, I help busy entrepreneurs get their dream body in less than 4 hours a week. That was the unique selling proposition that they made, like, whoa, their ears perked up, right? So write that out, practice it, because the last thing I'll say here, Barry, is the problem I see with confidence is when people don't practice this enough and they go and try and say it, they say it. And the first thing I notice is they're fumbling, or they look down or away because they're thinking about it. And instantly I realize they're not confident. Now, most people you share this with, they won't realize that consciously. They won't be like, oh, that person's looking away, he doesn't believe in his business. But they will take that in subconsciously and they will just be like, oh, that's nice. Instead of like, whoa, tell me more. That's the difference of going and getting a new successful business and moving massive momentum, or just staying complacent and the status quo by not perfecting your ideal elevator pitch.
There are people around the world right now, Jake, who are applauding, standing up, shouting, Jake, Jake, Jake. Now, that's great, everybody who's doing that. But what Jake really wants you to do, what I want you to do, and what you want to do is to write down those few words that he just said. Say it again, I will help.
I help. So when they say, what do you do? I say, I help, insert your ideal avatar. So I help busy entrepreneurs, or by giving them results-driven coaching. So that's insert your actual method to get, and then outcome,
right?
Which is what your outcome.
It's literally 4 or 5 words, and then it's on you. Y-O-U. Remember, that's the reason you tune in, because you care about you and the whole world. Remember, WIIFM is the most listened to station in the entire world, and it's always been that way. It will be, it was, and it will always be. That's the nature of life. It's you. Okay, so what are you doing to help you? These few words you want to internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life. Jake, I want to share with you one beautiful insight into the word pitch.
Let me hear it.
Presenting information that causes happiness.
Wow.
Wow. Now, WOW stands for words of wisdom, words of wonder.
There are so many layers to you, Barry. We could just talk for hours.
God willing, it will continue. That's it. But the reason I want to emphasize again what Jake is saying is that, hear what he said. Consciously, they may not thinking, what is this guy talking about, or this woman, et cetera, but subconsciously. See, everything we've discussed today, everything has to do with the subconscious mind. That is your most powerful, positive, purposeful, pleasant tool. It's yours. You control it. It's not somebody else's unless you allow them to. And if you do that, then you can never be you. Then you'll just be someone. You want to be you. And we need you, by the way, in the world. That's why the good Lord made you.
Amen.
You were brought here as a soul to be in the world. We need you. Y-O-U, to be the best you possible. Jake, I'm going to ask you 3 questions as we close out our time together. And are you ready? 3 quick questions.
I'm ready.
Let's rock and
roll.
Will you come back again?
Absolutely.
Oh, very good. Number 2, you have 80 seconds to answer this question.
Okay.
What is your most fervent desire?
Wow, that's a great question. My fervent desire is to, what came to me is when I experienced what it means to truly serve. And from one of the mentors that I've had was Tony Robbins, and to see how he serves on such a massive scale and creates so much impact. My fervent desire is to create a dent into this world, into this universe of positive impact that goes surpast my own significance, my own personal ego, goes beyond the things that I once was doing life for, which was just to make myself feel good, Barry, because I was insignificant at one point and all I wanted to do was to be significant. But I've gone past that, and my fervent desire is to now allow other people to realize that they don't have to go down that path, that they can create their dream life by chasing the things that God is giving them already, and it's all within them. And if they could understand that all the power is within them, that the beautiful blessings of the spirit, of the essence that they have is within them, and they could give that to other people and create a fabulous life, then that is my mission being done. And if there's only one person that listens to this right now, and they're feeling this, and they feel that spirit stirring in them, just like how I did when I had that person come in with a heart attack, and I changed my path, and now I'm on a path I couldn't even imagine, then that's my mission being done right here on this podcast.
Outstanding. Thank you. And now the third. I'd like to give you a hug in front of 358,222 people around the world. I got to tell you what HUG stands for. You ready?
I'm ready.
Heartfelt, unlimited giving. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And remember, this is the Joy of Living podcast. You tuned in consciously and conscientiously because you know that on this show we work with the 3 fundamentals of life. Your life has purpose. You lead a purpose-driven life, as Jake has shown us. You can go mad. Now, in this case, mad means make a difference. And the third fundamental is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms, such as WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day, or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking. Listen to Jay, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. And remember, you have the 6 most important words you can ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your. Use 4-letter words. Because we live in the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant world. 4-letter words: life, love, hope, play, pray, free, gift. Your life is a gift. Give. The joy of living can be summed up in one word: giving. That's the essence. And remember, tell everybody, F you. Remember to add right away, capital N, and use the 2 most powerful words in the English language at least, 3 times a day. That's it. But consciously and conscientiously. Thank you. To harmonize and network kindness, to harmonize and network kindness. Everybody you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Therefore, be kind, always kind. Keep inspiring noble deeds. You do all this, and the result will be you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? So a blessing from Barry and from Jake is the following. Go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.